Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
And how are you all this evening?
Rested.
Okay. That is a word I have not heard for a very long time.
Rested.
That is very important. Very, very, very important. I think my word for today is clarity. Because there has been a lot of cleaning, throwing away, tidying. So with that, you tend to find a lot of other things coming together.
Right.
Yes. So for that, I am very, very, very grateful.
I did give it away last week.
Okay.
Loads and loads bundled into the car, and that was it. Including the Christmas tree. That for the last 8 years, I'm looking at that tree and I saying, I can give away this tree, buy another tree. Now I give away the tree. I'm not too sure there will be a replacement.
Well, that is also something that happens sometimes.
I'm not too sure because when you're putting it up and you have the energy to put it up, oh my God, you're throwing everything on it. And then to take it down now.
Yes, that is usually a different story altogether. It usually really is. And how was your week?
The week was good, The week was good.
Okay. Hi,
It was,
Paula. I have not seen you in such a long time. How are
hello,
you?
Paula.
Hello, good night. I'm here.
Oh,
You're
how is
going.
everything?
Everything is good, great.
All right. I can hear it in your voice. I can certainly hear it in your voice.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm good. I'm good.
You probably rested.
Yes, 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 I am. Yes, I am. Doing good.
All right. Very, very good to note. And how was your week?
Mixed. But on the higher side, let's say 8 out of 10.
All right.
Yes, yes.
You know, the 2% is always needed to move us forward.
Well, yes, yes,
We tend
yes.
to not appreciate the 2%, but it has purpose.
I'm grateful for what I have. Put it that way.
Yes. Yes, yes. Noted. Hi, Anastasia. How are you?
Hi, I'm tired but good.
All right. Okay. Well, I don't know if you're tired because you were doing like me, whole day, cook, clean, wash, throw away. Yeah? Or no?
No, I took a long journey down to Point Fortin and that have me tired.
So you were on my side and you didn't pass to stop
That
with me
is where
alone?
you live in Ghana.
Yes, not points.
That behind God back. That behind God back. Wow,
Well,
that
not
have me
Point
tired.
Fortin, but close enough. I live best.
That's where the oil money coming from. So be careful what you say.
Well, the oil behind God back.
Because I'm from Santa Flora, so I am your neighbor.
Oh, nice, 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 nice. So we have some Southies. We have some Southies in the house. Yes, Anastasia. We are from below the creek, as some of Trinidad tends to call it. Yes. So I hope you had a good experience in Point Fortin. Yes.
Yes, I did. I ended
Yes.
up going to Gulf City Mall. Yes, it was
Yes.
nice. It's just that it have me tired. I find like so much driving.
Yes, sometimes it is like that. But again, it's about the experience. I saw the other day they had
True.
snow, fake snow at the mall.
Yes, in the mall, yes.
Yes, I saw it online. It looked lovely, lovely,
The
lovely,
mall is fully Christmas. Real nice.
I saw that. I saw that. I saw. Well, that is very, very good. You know, it is good. It is always good to go out and enjoy and experience, because that is where you find the joy. Yeah? You just find so much joy in the little things. And a lot of times we forget the little things and we only focus on the big things. But there is so much joy wrapped within the little things. Huh?
For real, because I catch myself enjoying looking at the bush on my
Because it's very relaxing, you see.
yeah.
Yes, it is. It really, really is very relaxing. So I'm very happy to hear that. Even though the ride was long, because I tend to complain about the opposite, because usually, with hikes, all of the hikes are in the north of Trinidad, and I say, why isn't there one little hiking trail, one little beach, a nice beach, something in south? We always have to head up the highway. Always have to head up the highway, but it's all good. It's all good, and it's usually fun. Patricia, are you there?
Yes.
And how was your week this week?
Not not as eventful as I would have liked it to be,
Okay.
but I went down in Chagonas,
Mm-hmm.
started to look at Christmassy things,
Okay.
and and I spent time kind of looking over some of the things that I would have done, and I could have do different. I do a little bit of introspection for
Yes.
this.
And guys, we sent out a post today, so I would like to put the question out to everybody on. Describe your one win. Describe your November win in one word. So let me read it again. Describe your November win in one word.
Mine's is
Okay,
patience.
Say it again, Nicola.
Mine's is patience.
Okay. Yes.
okay, so hyphenated is one word, right?
All right. Yes.
Yes, self-reflection.
Okay. Mine was understanding, because, as I said, in this household, there has been, over the past few weeks, a lot of cleaning, throwing away, and putting things in order. So, with it, you recognize that really and truly, when you get more discipline, everything around you finds discipline and order as well.
Mhm.
So, you're really starting to see a lot of things coming together. A lot of things where there is no more use, there is no more purpose for it. It is living freely and abundantly. So for that, I am very happy and grateful. Anyone else? Describe your November win in one word. So we heard,
Commitment for me.
okay, yes, yes, that is a big one. Yes, 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 yes. Anyone else? Anastasia?
I am searching for a word.
Okay.
Mhm.
Patricia?
Understanding.
Yeah, it comes.
Patience.
Yes, yes. All right, so that is guest number one, and guest number two. All right, not sure if they're close to the phone. Lisa, are you there? I know she is sometimes.
Yes, I'm here.
So, what is your November win? One word to describe it.
I guess self-reflection.
Okay, okay, okay. And Lynette, are you there?
Yes, mine is understanding. I was thinking about the one word, understanding.
Okay, okay, okay. So, with it, and especially as the year 2025 is quickly coming to a close, you would tend to really be in a reflective mode, in a self introspection mode. You would usually be understanding because you learn so much, especially throughout the year and even day to day. You learn so many different things, and it's really about how you apply it in your life because, again, it is not about just logging on, coming on, and not apply, the tools, not apply the wisdom because the fact that you're coming on means that you really want to experience something else, something new. And to experience something else or something new, you really have to put it into practice. So it is really, really important that you put it into practice. And let me tell you, practice is not a difficult thing. And the hardest thing with practice is making the first step. Because after you make the first step, you recognize, this wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. So just make the first step. That is what is most important. So as we move on to tonight's topic, which is the psychology of presence. And Nicola, are you there
Yes, I am.
to let us know what psychology really means as our on site psychologist? And then we would proceed into tonight's topic.
So, what psychology basically is the study of the human mind and behaviors and patterns. So, we identify how different thought processes would influence the way that we see the world, the decisions that we make, the behaviors that we have, and then basically changing that, for want of a better term. So looking at ways that we can change, because what would tend to happen is something that we call rational thoughts and irrational thoughts. So irrational thoughts are usually the thoughts that are not true, right? And usually we tend to form these beliefs, these irrational thoughts that will keep us stuck, whether it's in our fears, whether it's in some form of trauma. So it's turning those irrational thoughts into rational thoughts to help us to change in whichever area in our life that we would like to see the change. That's basically what it is, studying the human mind and how it relates to behavior, attitudes, beliefs, things like that.
Yes, thank you. And even today, B Fitman posted something that I learned something from because the topic, the heading of the post was effects of your mental state. Neuroplasticity is your brain's ability to adapt, learn, unlearn, and form new pathways. Mental states are linked to neuroplasticity as thoughts, emotions, and behaviors constantly change the brain structure and function. I did not know this. So this is seen in how positive mental states support healthy brain adaptability versus how negative states like depression or anxiety can be associated with altered brain structure. So whereas you're thinking, a lot of times we tend to stay in spaces for too long. And staying in spaces, as Sean Nicola could attest to this as well, staying in spaces for too long, that is where everything stems from. Because, we're supposed to have the experience, move on from the experience, but we tend to have the experience, and Anastasia hit my car 10 years ago just by mistake. And then I am still holding on to Anastasia in 2025. And you see, in staying in those spaces for so long, we tend to not recognize the effects that it is really having on us. You think that you're just holding this person in mind, and it is having more of an effect that you even realize that it having. It altering your brain one, and then we know the other aspect of it where you're going to end up by the doctor. Because imagine you're holding a load. If you're holding a physical load, it's the same thing. You think that you're not holding a physical load, but you're holding it within yourself, and you're really seeing the effects of it. Yes, Nicola, I see that you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I just wanted to add in terms of the same neuroplasticity, because I remember when I learned it too, I was like, wow, this is cool. But it's basically thinking about your brain as plasticine, and you can learn anything at any point in time. So you're never too old, you're never too young, because your brain would always adapt, right? And I remember as well when I learned that, let's say for example, someone who is blind, the part of their brain that is responsible for functioning with seeing, with neuroplasticity, what it does is it changes function. So now you would realize that they have a heightened sense of hearing, because it would change function to now hear. Or the part that's responsible for speech, because it is the mute, you would realize that it would change function so that they would now be able to hear really, really well. So that's basically what it is, your brain being able to adapt in any situation. And I remember seeing it as, when situations happen, most times we say, well, I can't change and I just stuck like this. But
Yes.
it's mostly just an unwillingness. I am unwilling to change. For being honest, is I am unwilling to change because your brain can change. Your brain, it was literally made that way, regardless of your age, regardless of your form, regardless of whatever it is. It can change at any point in time. So you're never, when they say you're never too old to learn, you're really never too old to learn.
Unless you make the choice to stay where you
Not,
are.
yeah.
Yeah. And listen, staying where you are, because a lot of times you look at life, you look at situations, circumstances, experience, and for what it is, we tend to not understand it for what it is in the moment. But I know with befitment, and especially during the sessions, during the week, they tend to break down some of the experiences you're having, even breaking down some of the reoccurring experiences that you're having. And it is really for your understanding as to why this keeps happening to me. And even within that understanding, it's really recognizing and, again, guys, practicing. Because we don't realize it and we don't understand the depth of the sentence which says we are all creators. You really don't understand the depth of it, because all your thoughts, your actions, your behaviors, everything is geared towards creating the life that you are currently experiencing. So if you want to experience something different, you really have to practice something different. And practicing something different is not, it is usually seen as a big mountain and you have this whole lot of things to do. And it's really not that. It's just putting the first step in front of you and then continuing forward. And when you all hear the term, the psychology of presence, what comes to mind? We just heard what psychology was.
Well, what came into me was the you have to be present in the moment. If you are elsewhere, then you're not really going to benefit the most for you. So the I would have looked at it as a system of and the benefits of that system of being present. Your presence, you being right where you are at that time. That's
Mm-hmm.
what came.
Okay. Anyone else? When you heard the term psychology of presence, what came to mind?
I was thinking how you understand now.
Patricia, I am not sure what happened, but we can barely. It's sounding like you're underwater.
Oh, I
I am not sure why that is. Yeah, we're still hearing it.
you're still hearing me, but
Yes,
not in water.
you're sounding like you're underwater because we heard you very clear before. I am not sure why that is happening. I don't know if you want to try logging off and logging back on. That might help as well.
All right.
Okay. Would anyone else like to?
Yes, being aware.
Okay. Yes. Anyone else? The psychology of presence. All right. So when you hear of presence, you tend to think of being in the presence of someone else, being in the presence of a group, and you would recognize that yes, psychology does affect that because we have all had the experience where you are in someone else's presence, and before they even say a word, you have already received the energy from that person. Yes.
Yes.
And
Yes, for
sometimes
sure.
people, they say things, they're trying to convince you of things, but you already know within yourself that is not who that person is. That is not the energy that I picked up on. Because another thing that we tend to forget is that energy is transferred before you even say a word, because we are all connected and we tend to forget it. So even if you could be trying to convince somebody of what you already know within yourself, that what that person is trying to portray, that is inaccurate. So even within you, if you are trying to portray something that you're not, and it is not authentic, and it is not coming from within, that is also not you. Because sometimes you might be trying to do something new, or again, when we don't take the time to look within ourselves to find out what the next step is, or you might look towards your friend, your cousin, your neighbor, and you see them engaged in something, and then you try to adapt to become that, and then you would recognize that this is not working out for me, and then you tend to get angry at the other person, when really that is not coming from the truth that is within you. And that is why you are getting the difficulty, because everything everywhere knows who you are, but yet you do not. And if you don't take the time to really get to know who you truly are, then you would really encounter a lot of difficulty and challenges. And even when you hear the term who you truly are, for a lot of us, there is still confusion. Because we tend to think that we are made up of mind and body, not realizing that the real important aspect of ourselves that we tend to always overlook and forget is the soul. And I know for the persons who are logged on and are here during the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, they would have a lot more insight towards that topic and that understanding. But we always just go back to whatever the default pattern is, instead of being quiet, asking a question before proceeding forward. And let me give you an example of functioning from your soul and you're not paying attention. So I think it was last weekend. For some reason, I like to hang out clothes. I do not know why. I cannot explain. Yes, we have a dryer. I still like to hang out clothes. I don't know why. So I washed the clothes, and what before I hung it out, the thought came, put it in the dryer. And I was like, no, the sun's shining. What I putting it in the dryer for? So I hung it out. And in less than 10 minutes, there was pouring rain outside. I calmly went, I took my wet because I knew I did not listen, and I put it in the dryer. And that is why I said when you're not functioning from your authentic self, you run into a lot of difficulties. Because the thought, and you all could attest for yourself, you know it in yourself. The thoughts are coming, you are ignoring them, you are attempting to function from somewhere else, you are frustrating yourself. In certain instances, you are even frustrating others around you, because you are trying to function from a space that is not authentic and that is not true to you. And if you really don't take the time to develop the relationship with you, then you would really, really find a lot of difficulty. And I know we have all have these experiences. I have had so many. When I was working Unicoma, and I went downstairs to get something to eat. And I keep hearing, don't buy the macaroni salad. And I was like, You know, the thought keeps coming, and I said, listen, the menu with all the macaroni salad don't make sense. You understand? It just won't make sense. Why not buy the macaroni salad? Listen, y'all, I bought that macaroni salad. That macaroni salad, I don't know how, I don't know why that macaroni salad smelled so fresh. And you know you're hungry now, right? You can't walk back downstairs. It's a very long walk. So I just divided the food, just skate the macaroni salad to the side as much as I could, and then eat the rest of the food. And again, this is another example. The thoughts are coming. You choose to ignore. Just know that when you choose to ignore, you have to deal with the consequences that come. Because the thoughts are coming. And even within that, you would find that what we tend to do is we tend to go to whatever the default is. I am accustomed buying macaroni salad. Why am I getting this thought of don't buy the macaroni salad? The sun is shining. Why am I getting this thought of put it in the dryer? And it is the same thing. And you see, when you don't practice functioning from there, really and truly, you're really adapting to something outside of you. And then adapting, sorry, to something outside of you. Remember, that is really not your authentic self. So you would find that functioning from there, you would be questioning a lot of things. You would have a lot of self doubt. You would have a lot of fears instead of just making the step. And in doing so, in your presence, what energy would people be receiving from you? Because what energy are you putting out? You're putting out the fear, you're putting out the doubt, you're putting out the. You don't even trust you because you don't even know you. But why not spend the time to really get the opportunity to know yourself? And even when the thought comes, practice putting it into practice. Really, really practice it. And you see, sometimes, even if it does not work out how you think it should have worked out, at the end of the day, the lesson is the lesson. And what do we not enjoy? The lesson. We do not enjoy the lessons. We think that everything should be smooth and everything should be easy. And I know even in my nephew, I think he is 10 or 11, and he does not like school, he does not like lessons. And my father, well, before now, was convincing him, listen, you need to go to school to learn to read and write. So now that he knows how to read and write, he is telling my father, why do I have to go to school? You told me I learned to read and write. I need to learn that. I learned it already. Why I still have to go? So you would find that we always trying to run away from whatever the lesson is. But remember, guys, the lessons are always going to come. Think of it as you are always sharpening yourself. You are always expanding your being. Nothing in nature stays the same. Why do you want to stay the same? Nothing in nature stays the same. The leaves are green, the leaves die, the fruits bear, some of them drop to the ground. Even with the tide goes out, the tides come in. Why do we always want to stay the same? And why do you all think that is? And even in terms of tonight's topic, which is the psychology of presence, somebody who always remains, wants to stay the same in their presence, what is that experience like? Does anybody pay them any attention? No. And you see, sometimes you don't even recognize it for yourself that the experiences that you are having is a reflection of you and where you are. So, just as Nicola explained in terms of the psychology, whatever you believe about yourself, whatever you believe about life, that is what you are sending out. That is the energy you are sending out, and that is the energy you are receiving. You may be unaware, but remember, we are all creators. And I know the first thing that you're going to say is, I did not want this, I did not create this. But spend some time with you. spend some time with you, and you would certainly recognize, yes, I think that I really, really did create this. Because at the time when I made that choice, when I made that decision, I made it from fear, I made it from doubt. And in doing so, I created fear and doubt on my pathway, and now I am seeing the results of it. But if you want to communicate or come from a place of authenticity, how would you approach that in terms of your presence and your being, your life? How would you approach coming from authenticity?
I think you have to have a positive outlook. You have to understand you and you have to have a positive outlook.
Yes, 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 yes. And even within the positive outlook, if you have an outcome that is seemingly negative, remember it is there for a reason. There is a lesson to be learned. You do not have to hold on to the person who presented you with the lesson for the next 15 years. You don't have to do that. That is a choice. Just as I said before, if Abina hit my car 10 years ago, why am I holding on to Abina in 2025? It happened 10 years ago. The lesson was learned. Yes. Can you move on from it? Yes. Do you want to hold Abina in mind and not move on from it? That is a choice. Because just as explained before, guys, we do not understand until the consequences, the results come, how much you are affected by holding on to things that are no longer serving you. Even things in your home, physical things, things in your mind, you really don't understand the effects of it sometimes until it is too late or until you end up by the doctor because of it. And why not just be proactive in the moment right now? Because even when you think about presence and the present moment, functioning from the present moment is really your greatest advantage. There is nothing stronger than functioning from the present moment. Nothing, 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 nothing. Because as you have seen with my previous experiences, I was given the wisdom to function from the present moment, and I choose to go back to my default. In terms of the thought came within the moment, put the clothes in the dryer, and what did I do? I went back to my default. No, I want to hang it on the line. I like to hang out clothes. And what happened? Rain fell. So that is why I said I went outside, yes, and I took the wet from the rain and put it in the dryer. And even in the other instance with the food. And in the present moment, you received the wisdom, the thought came, and what did you do? No, I just usually buy this like this in this order. And then what happened? You couldn't even eat half of your food, so part of you will eat. I was hungry, you know? And then again, you see, in making choices, you're not really recognizing how the choices really affecting you, not just in the short term, but if you keep making the same choice and choosing whatever your default setting is or your default pattern, you really look at how many missed opportunities that passing you by day after day. And sometimes it's the things that you're asking for so long. But if you're not in the present moment to receive it, and that is why also you would find that you have the same resolutions, the resolutions by next month then is the same 23, 24, 25, now it's 26. You're just carrying the resolutions forward. And this is the reason why, because you cannot want to experience a different life and practice the same old patterns. And even as you think about your presence, what do you think of your presence? Do you think that you function from authenticity, or do you think that you function from a space where you always have to try to convince people of something? Or do you all need to think about it? Or should it just remain an internal question because you are not ready to face the truth of what the response is to the question?
I think, like for myself, I do things based on my authentic self. Because I think if you, number one, you have to know who you are, know your word, know what your values are, and live by it. I think if you deviate from that then it's almost like you're being a hypocrite. You know what I mean? And then you have to always try to remember, oh, okay, what personality did I put on for this person? Or what did I do differently for this person? And it becomes a task. You know, a lot of times you get into relationships and you're trying to put your best foot forward, but could you maintain it? You know, and after a while, it just becomes very daunting, and it's a burden to try to be who you are not versus
Really is.
being who you are and being true to who you are. And then you attract the right people when you are, you know, who you really supposed to be. Other than that, you just, putting on this farce for who?
Hmm. Because I think, you see what you said there? It is a burden trying to function from who you are not. That is the truth. Because it is not just in the moment alone, you have to carry that burden forward. Because you see, you're living trying to convince others of something outside of who you truly are. And then, really, when you look at it, who is that even for? Who really is it even for? And in the long run, and again with age too, you would recognize that some of these things are not even necessary, they are not required because you are who you are. And I always make mention of the barber crew cut. So we always, you tend to think a barber, you know, society does not look upon certain professions in a particular way. And even for a barber and the success that he has had, people flying in from all over the world for this man to cut their hair, flying in from all over the world. And the budget per haircut and color and makeup is $1,500. Yes, it is. I know because my aunt went there. Yep. So that's, imagine, per person. I'm not sure of how many persons he do every day, but she said when you go there, it is an experience. She said when you go there. She said it is a wonderful, wonderful experience. And again, because of his presence and because of him functioning from his authentic self, you recognize a cut is how much right now in Trinidad? $30 to $60. I don't even know how much for a haircut right now.
No, $100.
$100, right? And
A
imagine,
hundred.
100 for the men.
okay, and imagine Crewcut's functioning within his authentic self is able to charge premium price $1,500 per haircut and color because you're functioning from your authentic self. He is a barber. He did not try to go and be a DJ. He didn't try to go and be a doctor, a lawyer. Those are the professions everybody tend to run to. But he functioned from his authentic self. And in doing so, once you get discipline and you get order, everything around you tends to follow. Yes, Catherine, I'm seeing that you have your hand raised.
Yes, I was going to point out that not only has he been able to move from where he started, but he has also now expanded himself as a motivational speaker.
Yes.
He is now posting motivational talks so people can follow him and get his videos and so forth. He has been able to expand his physical space in that the physical space as well as open other branches. And so by just going one step at a time, one step at a time, and letting things unfold, he has been able to demonstrate the expansion that we are talking about.
Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Anastasia, I'm seeing that you have your hand raised.
So I am wondering if it is that
Mhm.
sometimes you're operating in your default for so long that sometimes you could actually accept that as your authentic self.
Yes.
So how would you know for
You would
sure what is your authentic self or not?
you would
Or
know,
who would you?
Anastasia, from the
Mhm.
results you are getting. You see, once you're functioning outside of your authentic self, like I attempted to do, you would run into difficulty time after time after time after time. You would get challenge on top of challenge. Now, I am not saying that challenges is not part of life, but even as they come, once you allow wisdom to flow, you would know what your next steps are. If you choose to stick to whatever the default is, you would this thing would feel like the hike that we did to go to Cyril Bay when we were trying to come out. Listen to me, it was difficult. And you see, in instances just like this, and even as Nicola was explaining before, where you were trying to make it work when it really not working. And sometimes you would think that, no, but I want this thing to work, but it is not supposed to work because you are not functioning from truth. So every corner that you turn, it is an obstacle there. You turn your head left, you turn your head right, there is an obstacle there. And as I said, you would really know from the results you are getting, because even for me, well, you all know, some of you all would know that my mother passed. And after her passing, well, of course, now you were helping in the household, but now you have to manage a household, which is much different. And in managing, I remember, listen, at first it used to be really, really frustrating. So remember, you have to go and make groceries, you have to go in the market, you have to do so many different things. And I remember asking a question once and I saying, listen, what to do? What to do? And then what I recognize is that as females, I don't know if this is the same thing for males or just for people on it in general, we want everything done now. And I recognized that getting everything done now was getting me sick every Monday morning. So you're working Monday to Friday, so then Saturday, Sunday, you fill your schedule with a set of things that you think that needs to be done now. So you're running down all these different household things. And I am telling you, every Monday morning, and it's only when an aunt of mine brought it to my attention that I realized, wait, Adana, you're frustrating yourself and you're getting yourself sick every week, every other week. And of course, a telltale sign for me when I am tired is that my allergies would start to raise or act up. And then now, if I have something to do, I would allow it to flow. So you might be doing this. So today I was cooking, cleaning up, tidying up, washing curtains and stuff. And I tell you, throughout the day, the steps just coming. Okay, do this next. Okay, do that next. Okay, do this next. And I am telling you, I probably started what time this morning, I cannot remember. But in between I taking little breaks or sitting down, I am telling you, I was done at 6:30 to get ready for 7 o'clock. I ate lunch between 6:45 and 7 o'clock and got dressed. And I am not feeling tired. I am not feeling anyway. And you see, therein lies the difference. And Anastasia, I'm telling you, you could feel it. The steps, the next step, it is just flowing to you. It is just coming to you. And even for myself, I am amazed at how much I was even able to get done. Because I tell you, it have days when I cannot move and I'm horizontal on my bed. And I am fully in rest mode and Netflix mode. And then it have the days where when you function with the wisdom, you function with the thought. Because remember, we think that we are just physical, but remember that is just part of it. Remember, there is also the spiritual, the unseen, and everything is working together with us, but we do not want to work together with everything else. We want to stay within the pattern that is not working. It is frustrating us day after day. We are not seeing any beneficial results. The only thing you're seeing and creating is more chaos and confusion, but yet you want to stick to the pattern. So, Anastasia, I hope this answers your question in terms of how do you know if it is a pattern or if it is your authentic self, but also the opportunity to practice something different. Sometimes you run into something or you run into a wall, Anastasia. It is just the opportunity to practice something new. That is all. It is as simple as you were riding a bike, you fell off the bike, and you know, for all the kids, does that mean they're going to stop riding the bike tomorrow? Of course not. They are going to continue riding the bike, but even for us, as we experience things, we tend to, this didn't work out the first time. I close in the book, I train with the book, and I burn in the book. Why are you burning the book? The book didn't do you anything. You know, just practice something new. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, Catherine, I'm seeing that you have your hand raised.
Yes, I just wanted to thank Anastasia for her question, because for me that was really operating in your authentic self. Because when the question was asked, I sat here and I sat here and I sat here, and Anastasia, I had almost the same question. But I said, ask yourself, Catherine, because I remember one particular incident. I went out with a friend I hadn't seen for, well, I thought it was over 15 or something years. It was reminded me that it wasn't so long. And I remember we had a wonderful evening. I remember talking and we laughed and we chatted and whatnot. But while that is going on, I can know within myself that something is not, I'm not really operating. I'm asking questions, but I'm looking for certain responses. I am, it was as though I was trying to see how the gaps could be filled in, the missing years. And it did not seem, even though when I left home, I said, I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to enjoy the evening because I haven't seen this person for so long. Let's have a good evening. And although the evening was long, I still had to acknowledge within myself that I was on guard somewhere along the line, and I was introducing topics which seemed, like topics, but really I was looking for the responses behind it. And after that, I kept thinking to myself, no, why were you doing that? Why were you doing that? And when the question was raised just now, and it came back to me, so if you have spent a long time not really operating as your authentic self, you tended to monitor your words, edit your opinions, except of course if it was in a professional space or office space or corporate space. I didn't edit words at all. But in the in dealing one on one with people, you have not operated like that for so long that it's almost as though the the non-authentic self, I want to use that nice word, was like the real self, and the authentic self is so strange to you
Yeah.
that it seems unreal, it seems unnatural. And then you realize you have to work yourself out of, you have to switch. You literally have to work yourself and make the switch. Because with all the wisdom that we get in now, you're finding out that things are not going to change for you. There is no magic. There's no magic. Nobody is going to come and help you out with some magic. You have to make the change. You have to make the other choice to operate a particular way and to give up the guard. And I think we talked about it last week, the pushback for self protection or something. So I think we talked about that last week, last Monday. And for me, that was where I was when Anastasia asked her question, because you could be there so long that when you have to now operate in your genuine self, the real you, this somebody mash your toe, you know, swallow it and say, oh, that's okay. It comes off my other toe. It's okay. And that that too is an uncomfortable feeling.
It
That
is.
is an uncomfortable space. So that is where a lot of my self-reflection is, and working towards going and operating a different way as opposed to the very familiar,
Yes.
very familiar
Yes.
non-authentic self. So thank you, Anastasia.
And even before I moved on, I know I've seen Lisa hand up for a really long time. Kelly, are you there? Okay, I'm not sure if she's close to her phone. Hello?
Yes, I am.
How
Hi,
are you?
I am great.
All right. I am just checking. And you know, I see the names I haven't seen in a long time. I will just say hi. How are you? Yes,
Um,
Lisa, you had your hand raised for a really long time.
I wanted to say something to Anastasia. I mean, I know she said she understood, like, when you explaining what it was, but I think for me, when I realized that I was not working or living with my, true authentic self is when, the last relationship I was in, it's like, you lose yourself trying to please someone, or you lose yourself, or somebody did something to you and you're like, I have to get back at you, you know? And that is not your core principle, that is not your core value, but you're so caught up in the pain and the hurt, and you feel that this person should feel or experience the pain and the hurt that you felt. And you're like, not necessarily going to the extreme, but you're so focused on what they did, and you kept reliving it. And if I did it this way, and you should do it this way, and you
Mm,
know, and it became a task, because this is not who I am.
yes,
This is not how I operate. This is not my morals. This is not my principles. This is not my values. But you're so caught up on trying to avenge, trying to say, I had to get back at you. Like Adana said, somebody do something, so you have to get back at them. That feeling of, you're doing it just because, and you know in your core, this is not me. This is not my principle. And it's hard to work outside of who you truly are.
it is.
It is work.
It
to
is.
work outside of who you truly are. So, and that led me into major depression. Major depression because I was so caught up in you doing this and you could have done this and what you did to me and da, 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 da. And it's like, is it that serious? You know? And I had to learn how to come back because you really had to now train yourself to come back into that thinking where, you feel pain, you feel hurt, but is having that understanding of people are who they are where they are where they're supposed to be,
Yes.
and it's okay. You just have to protect your peace and know what you want for yourself. So living your authentic self is really knowing what you want for yourself. Remember when you started and you're saying, "Oh, I'm a people pleaser." That is not who you truly are because you could identify that you was trying to please people and that is not who you are. So it's simple things like that you would know that you are not being your authentic self. When you're not your authentic self, people tend to use you, people tend to, you know what I mean? And you have to know your worth, and regardless of what people say about you, you hold your head up high because this is who I know I am within. So it doesn't matter what people say, and you're at peace with yourself, and you could sleep when the night come and it's be like, okay, whatever. So that's the difference with knowing when you working or living or you know being your true self versus when you're not. When it's work outside is when I say work outside of when you're trying to retrain yourself to come back into that alignment with who you are, when you have to put the work in to become somebody that you're not, you know or do things that you know that is not within your principles, that is when you're not being your true authentic self.
Yes. Because it feels like you always have to persuade somebody, you have to convince somebody, you have to prove something, or you're always in a kind of performative mode. But even when you look at crew cuts and you even look at the videos, you would recognize that the energy being received is authenticity, is truth. This is who I am. This is me in this form. I am functioning at my best in my own lane. I do not have to try to convince, to prove anything to anyone, because you see, real influence comes from grounding yourself in who you are right now and allowing value to speak louder than effort. Because when you're not functioning from truth requires a lot of effort, you're tired, you're frustrated, and as Lisa said, in extreme cases, you could end up in depression. And again, what happens is that these things take a toll on our bodies. And yes, it might seem very foreign and it might seem, listen, this feels weird, this is new for me, but that is okay. Once you're making the first step, that is really what is important. Because when you really look at the effort that you're putting out to persuade others of certain things. Let me tell you something. The other person already know that is not you. So the only person you're really trying to convince is you. Because the energy that you're putting out, they already received that, listen, this person is not who they say they are. So you're really trying to convince yourself because everyone else knows. And then you're probably thinking, why they're not understanding it from my perspective? Why they're not getting my point of view? Why? Because that is not who you are. You're trying to portray it, you're trying to put it out, but remember, energy is energy, and energy introduces you before you even speak. Catherine, I'm seeing that you have your hand raised.
Yes, I was saying that the fitment and the classes helped me to understand that nobody cares about you. No. Nobody. All your pain and suffering, and oh, this one did me this, and this one did me that. Nobody cares about you. they about their own business and they are doing what they consider to be in their best interest, and nobody cares about you. So when I am tempted to wallow in a little bit of self pity and whatnot, I just pull up that line, catch it, nobody cares about you, you know. You don't even exist in their world. So straighten out whatever you have to straighten out, straighten your thoughts out, straighten out, go back to the lessons. What are you feeling instead of how are you feeling? And work your way from there and just remember one major lesson.
Yes.
Nobody cares about you. So, with that in mind, because I used to be waiting on some people to experience their downfall, you know, because I used to be the one that would say, okay, you do so and so to me, you do it one day, and I would mark the one day, I don't know where I'm marking it. And then to learn nobody cares about you, you know, and there's no one day coming. The only person who's going to experience that one day is the person who's planning for it, which is you.
Yep.
Then other things that you don't want will be coming your way because you're the only one planning in one day. And since you never say one day, you always have a thought that goes with the one day, you're surely creating what it is you want to see one day, and then you pass it on the road and you see the same person enjoying life even better.
Yep.
So it was the one thing I learned from the fitment is nobody cares about you.
Yep. Because the things that you're holding on to affecting nobody else but yourself. Remember the things that you are currently holding on to. Look around and see if it's affecting anybody else. Look around you. Anybody else affected, it is affecting nobody else but you. And that is why, we come on here and we ask the question, what world are you creating for yourself? What world have you created for yourself? What world are you going to continue creating for yourself, or are you going to start creating something new and practicing something different? Because in order to change the current world that you're experiencing, you have to put something different into practice. Remember, guys, if you want to experience something new, you have to practice something different. We really don't understand the depths to which our daily choices are affecting the life that we would like to experience. And let me just share something with you. This was today's post, and I thought that this was so very insightful. So, this is today's post, which reads: many people define prosperity by the things they can buy. But true prosperity used intentionally is the power to buy back your attention. It is less about what prosperity adds to your life, but more about what it frees you from. So let me reread that last sentence. It is less about what prosperity adds to your life, but more about what it frees you from. So when you think about prosperity, even in your life, are you free to prosper? Or are you shackled by the thoughts of yesterday, people's actions and behaviors of yesterday? Because again, wherever your attention is placed, and I know it is something that you are probably not even understanding how deep this really goes. But you see, true prosperity used intentionally is the power to buy back your attention. Where is your attention placed? You would know where your attention is placed based on the results that you are currently experiencing in your life. So wherever you think that I need more of this, place more attention on it. It is just as a plant. If you're not watering the plant, you're not giving the plant any nourishment, the plant is going to die. It's the same thing with you. You're functioning so much on your body. You want to exercise. Carnival is just now. We have a short carnival season. Carnival is in February. But you function on one aspect of your being, and then your soul and your mind out of whack. Where is your attention placed? So if you find that you're not getting the results that you would like to get, that is where you know you need to place more attention on. And guys, remember, we do not understand how deep the sentence is when you hear the sentence. We are creators. Every day is a new opportunity for you to create the life that you would like to experience. What are you creating? You would know when you look to your left, you look to your right, you would know because it's right around you. What have you created? If you would like to create something different, that is where the attention should be placed. I hope that you all have really understood tonight's topic. And even for the ones who are not on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I hope that you make the choice to really make yourself available for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday sessions because those sessions are even more insightful than the Mondays. Mondays, of course, are just the tip of the iceberg, and the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday sessions are way more in depth. And that is where you would get to come with whatever questions. But usually at the end, it is explained to such detail that you really don't have any questions in the end there. But it is really about your well being, it is really about your progression, it is really about your evolution, and it is really to shine the light for you to clearly understand how some of the steps you are taking day by day are really affecting the abundant life that you would like to experience. And until you log on, trust me, you're totally unaware how some of these simple daily things are really affecting everything. And with that, let me let you all know what the topics are for this week. Because just as I said before, the Mondays are just a brief introduction. So, tonight we spoke of the psychology of presence. And Tuesday from 10 a.m., we have the B Squad Youth program in various schools across Trinidad. And from 6 p.m., we would be looking at influencing the external. How confidence, clarity, and emotion work together. Then from 7, we have our Be Fit, Fuel, and Flex full body workout sessions. Then on Wednesday from 10, we have the B Squad Youth program again. And from 6, we would be looking at creating environments and conversations where attracting others through understanding, which would go a lot deeper than what we discussed tonight. On Thursday, again, we have our B Squad Youth program from 10, and then from 6, we would be looking at becoming someone people want. So you see, sometimes for some of us, we might be feeling isolated because of different situations and circumstances. So this would certainly be the session for you. And within this, we would be discussing shifting persuasion to value creation. So in instances where you think that you always need to coerce or persuade somebody, here we would be looking at how you could shift that into value creation, because even as we discussed as it relates to crew cuts, the price is $1,500 and people going regardless. He is always booked up, sometimes a month, 2 months in advance. Then from 7 p.m., we have the Be Fit Water Aerobics workout session. On Friday 28th, we have our counseling and consultations from 10 a.m. And then from 3 p.m., we have Free to Be, where we celebrate, relax, restore, and unwind. And on Saturday from 10, we have our counseling and consultations again. And from 3 p.m., we are closed. If you would like to register, you could scan the QR code or via the app, the Flow Zone. You would be able to access it there, or you could get all the information on our social media pages. And on the 6th of December at 6 a.m., we would be at the Lady Chancellor Hill in Port of Spain. We would have a little fitness pop-up with our trainer, Annalisa. The cost, of course, is free. We would be going to Macri Beach after, So if you are interested, feel free to call or WhatsApp Chancellor to 336-1809 to register. So guys, this is week, I think it's week 48. Yes, it is week 48 of 2025. Week 48 of 2025. Practice something new. Make the time, practice something new. This is your life. Your life belongs to you. This is about your well being. Practice something new this week, and you would see how everything flows from you just taking the first step. And remember, if you forget, prosperity is it is less about what prosperity adds to your life, but more about what it frees you from. And remember, you have the power to buy back your attention. You have the power to buy back your attention. If there was $1 million attached to anything, your attention would be fixed. You would not have to think twice. You would not look to the left, to the right. You would be looking straight ahead. But remember, you buy back your attention. You focus on what you want. You hold your intention. And in doing so, you would create the world that you would like to experience. Have a wonderful night. Have an enjoyable week. See some of you tomorrow. See the rest of you on Monday. Same place, same time. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, guys.
Good
Good
night.
night.